Gonna beat Aaron over the head every day.
The Queen. The issue
Good evening. Hi, I'm Marina the White Rose, and it is a beautiful, hot, hellish day in Kansas City, Missouri. But tomorrow I have company, and it is going to be beautiful outside. So I'll be on the gazebo, you know what I mean, hanging out with good family friends. Okay, so what I've been doing is I started with makeup reactions, first reaction, just doing some makeup, and I was going into music reactions, first reaction, and I absolutely love it, but I want to do more as well. I want to keep doing all those things, and I have a big heart about history and specifically Anne Boleyn and Henry VIII, the Tudors. So let's go ahead. I have done a couple parts. Definitely dismissed the first. It was a mess. And then one of them says that it is fixed. It'll be in the end credits. And I'll add a music reaction on there as well so you could check it out. So what I've gotten so far is they're explaining Anne Boleyn's childhood home and had prosperity and it was pious, and then we got into Henry VIII a little bit when he was younger, and he was witty and just jovial and energetic, a lot of strength, all those things that you want from a king, you know, and that at this point, from what I understand, and Henry VIII and Catherine of Aragon, that they were together for like 17 years. That's a long time. Unfortunately, there was a lot of miscarriages with Catherine and was not able to bear a male heir, which is a big deal. So that's just doing a little catch up. Let's go ahead and get in this. We really appreciate you from Rose Nation. I know that this is very small views. Not as many people give me likes or anything. Please do suggestions if there is something that could make this a little bit better. I'd really appreciate it. Constructive criticism. Don't be a dick. You know what I mean? But I'm definitely down with constructive criticism and it's new too, this new program for me. So probably gonna do this for about 10 minutes. It is a long program, and by the way, it is chronicle medieval history documentaries. So we got the full link will be in the below, and please hit them up too. It's amazing. I love their editing. I love it isn't boring for me. So I get very bored very easy. So let's go. My mama gave me this for my marriage because you need a lot of patience in life. I'm a very impatient bitch. So let's go. We're going back a little bit. With no male heir, the Tudor dynasty remains fragile. Let's go. Let's make it bigger.
Henry VIII wasn't born to be king. He'd come to the throne after the death of his father Henry VII, and only because his older brother Arthur had died suddenly at the age of just 15.
Wow.
Within months of becoming king, Henry married his brother's widow.
See, and I talked about it on the last one where it's kind of like Game of Thrones with Joffrey, and then when Joffrey got poisoned, and then I can't remember the younger one, but he stepped in. And so it's kind of like from that, that's what I got from it. Yeah. I thought that was very interesting, and I wonder if it was implemented. I have aphasia. And if they got that from that history.
Catherine of Aragon. They were crowned together. But with marriage came a huge pressure. Now he needed to produce an heir to secure the dynasty for the next generation. And not just one, he needed an heir and a spare, as his brother's death had indicated.
A spare?
Henry would be married to Catherine for over 20 years. And for much of that time, they were happy together.
20.
But they were beset by a devastating series of miscarriages and stillbirths.
Bless your
When a
soul.
son, Henry, was born, he died 52 days later. Mary would be the only child to survive.
I love that violin.
Most people at the
cello.
time saw little value in a female heir, as she would likely end up marrying a European prince, allowing England to be dominated by a foreign power. And France and Spain were a constant threat throughout Henry's reign. So siring a legitimate heir became Henry's overriding obsession. It was an obsession that would manifest itself in Henry's relationship with God. He had been anointed king.
I don't know if I said the whole, this is the reality of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn relationship. Lovers who changed what is this? Who changed history. I had to move my mic. Hopefully that didn't mess that up. Let's go.
This lack of a surviving legitimate male heir suggested to Henry VIII that he was being punished by God. And he suspected the reason was that he had married his brother's widow. And scriptures backed him up in this. In Leviticus it says, in chapter 18, verse 16, "You shall not uncover the nakedness of your brother's wife. It is your brother's nakedness." And chapter 20, verse 21 says, "If a man takes his brother's wife, it is impurity. He has uncovered his brother's nakedness. They shall be childless."
What I was wondering though, the brother had passed, and basically death unto you and all that. Like if you, like when you die, you've done your diligence. You got married, and one of them had passed. I'm having a hard time with my words today, but let's go. It's different. I don't know
Henry's
if it
theological
counts.
experts assured him that childless, in this instance, actually meant no sons.
Catholic is strict, y'all.
While England waited for an heir to the throne, the teenage Anne had crossed the Channel and was embracing all that Europe had to offer. After some time in the Netherlands, her father found her a
Beautiful
role in the French
Netherlands.
court, which would become a defining influence in her life.
Hey, isn't it what is The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings was filmed, was in the Netherlands, I think. Let me know. Beautiful, where it is absolutely stunning. Something I'd like to go.
Little is known of Anne's 9 years on the continent, and yet much is always made of it. It certainly was a formative period of her life. It was the period when she was educated, and people in the 16th century and today have speculated in a kind of prurient nudge nudge wink wink kind of way that at the French court particularly she learned the art of love.
Love, seduction.
I want to see for myself how Anne's time in France shaped her character. I'm travelling to the Château de Blois, one of the palaces where the French king, Francis I, held his court. I can only imagine what the young Anne must have felt when she first arrived here.
I do remember this from the last reaction, and that is I didn't mean to go that back. So I do apologize for that. Everything got messed up today. See? Like it's geeking. I don't know what's going on with my system today. So let's go.
I've never been here before.
We got a
It's
glitch
really
in the
exciting.
matrix, y'all.
Anne would be a lady-in-waiting to the cultured and pious French queen, Claude.
Didn't do things by halves, did they? Look at this place. My word.
That's so.
It was the
I
most
can't.
fashionable court in Europe, reflected in its spectacular architecture.
I absolutely love architecture, and it's part of my soul. I don't know what it is. I just have a major attachment, especially historical landmarks and palaces. As a matter of fact, I might find a video of my family castle from the O'Flaherty Castle. It has an actual real name. Give me a second. Let me get there. That is my family's castle. It's a landmark in Ireland. And pretty cool. I need to look more into it. Yes, the ferocious O'Flahertys. I've also known the fighting O'Flahertys. That is on my paternal side. My mom's maternal side. That's what it is. Hopefully I said that right. But yeah, I wanted to show you a little bit of that history. And if you're interested, I'd like to see some more footage and such and get to know a lot more of my ancestors. All right, let's go back to where we were at, reflected in the spectacular architecture for the win. If you love architecture, put something in the comments because I love stories about architecture. Are you an architect? I have a cousin that lives near Disneyland and is an architect, and that's pretty cool. It's fascinating. Let's go. I get feels.
This is an extraordinary sort of Renaissance style. You've got the little classical statues up the top here and all these columns and this amazing spiral staircase.
Oof. How were they able to do that at that time?
It's so incredibly beautiful, this staircase.
Who loves a
It would have
spiral?
been such an extraordinary time for Anne when she was here because she was here with Claude of France, who herself was a real patron of the arts. Francis I, her husband, was so much a fan of the Renaissance that he invited Leonardo da Vinci to France, and he was installed just down the road. So there's every
I
chance
love
that Anne
art
might have met him.
too, so
So basically, Anne would have been surrounded by this world of intellectual endeavour and artistic endeavour. It must have been such an
Look
exciting
at-
place to be.
did you see her face, like being in such? Not everybody gets to go there. You know what I mean? I have limited being able to fly too far because of health issues and stuff, or I would be there. Her face said it all. I absolutely love it.
I'm out of breath now.
Oh shit, right?
Anne came of age in France. One observer later wrote that no one would ever have taken her to be English by her manners, but a native-born
Beautiful.
Frenchwoman.
Wow.
Take my breath away.
What might Anne have learnt at this court?
The first thing, of course, is French, because French was a very important language at that time. It was something like the English today in the northern
This
courts
is where I
of
had to
Europe.
start again.
We just know that she must have been at some very important events, such as
Beautiful
when
lady.
the English ambassadors came to France in 1518, or at the Field of the Cloth of Gold, because she must there have played an important role as an interpreter between the English and the French. She received a European education, and she was really different from the young ladies who just stayed in England.
Anne also saw firsthand what was required to fulfill the essential role of a queen. Her mistress Claude gave birth to 7 children in 8 years, including 3 sons.
On my dad's side, there's 4 and 3. So three, I think it's 3 boys and 4 girls in a 2-bedroom house that was like 700 square feet of the home. It's crazy. It's crazy. I asked, like, what if you all had the flu? There's only one bathroom. He's like, I don't even remember doing anything like that if that was a problem. That's crazy. Crazy talk.
Something Henry and Catherine could only dream of.
And they were poor.
Claude
my
was also
family.
extremely pious, so it's unlikely that her court was a hotbed of promiscuity.
Okay.
Cedric, one of the things that's often said about Anne's time in France, with probably little evidence from what you've said so far, is that there's kind of this idea that somehow she's learned all about sex while she's been at the court. Do you think this is at all plausible?
Yeah, my opinion would be that it's not true, but it may be true. We don't know. We have no evidence. I don't think there was a clear difference at that time between the court of Francis I and the court of Henry VIII.
I would think, my opinion at that time, but I always think of Game of Thrones, the brothel that's there, teaching ladies how to please the partners and such. I'm not saying that's what Anne did, but the art of seduction, at least, not necessarily intimate. You know what I mean?
Our
But
first
who
surviving
knows?
letter from Anne was written to her father and shows her aspirations to be accepted in the English court.
Sir,
I
I
love
understand by your letter that you wish that I shall be of all virtuous repute when I come to court. And you inform me that the Queen will take the trouble to converse with me, which rejoices me greatly. To think of talking with a person so wise and virtuous. Written at 5 o'clock by your very humble and obedient daughter.
I would like to say that the acting in here is top notch. It keeps me interested. That's why I chose these, the Chronicle medieval history documentaries. It's interesting, the acting great, the editing is amazing. It transitions to try to keep people's attention, and with history can be a snore fest. So I really appreciate y'all for this footage.
Anna de Boleyn.
Ooh, hot. Let's try
Our
that.
first surviving letter from Anne was written to her father and shows her aspirations to be accepted.
Sorry. This is a longer video, so here we go. Wanna
Wise
hear-
and virtuous. Written at 5 o'clock by your very humble and obedient daughter, Anna de Boleyn.
That's so hot.
We tend to think about Anne Boleyn in black and white terms. So she's either a sexual predator or she's sexually chaste. She's either pious or she's worldly. She's either innocent or sophisticated. And yet, actually, what I've learned here is that her French education, her time at the French court, was such that it prepared her to be a much more complex character than that. Her 9 years on the continent transformed her from a teenage girl into an extremely desirable woman.
Thank you.
The Anne
Thank you for putting the years. That is amazing, because sometimes it's hard to find exact dates for that time of period. What, at least I was having a hard time finding the actual dates. So thank you.
that emerges back in England is one who's been shaped by many different influences, who is both pious and worldly, who's both sophisticated
Balanced.
and something of an innocent. She's one who can play musical instruments, who can sing, who can dance, who can speak French, who is sophisticated and witty, who's been exposed
got
to a
that.
world of cosmopolitan glamour. And she's such an attractive prospect precisely because she is so complex.
The time will come. I, Anne Boleyn.
In
Yeah,
her
the
early
music
20s,
on this is
Anne
amazing.
arrived back in London. Henry held court in palaces all over the capital, and I've come to one of the few that has survived, Hampton Court.
Hampton Court, y'all. Okay, I did. This is not a first reaction on this part, and from when I said something earlier about it a couple minutes ago. And so I've seen this. So far, I'm trying to be just an honest person, and it could bite me in the ass, but I don't want to lie to you all. And so I have seen this part. Let's hit it. It still takes my breath away. Oh. The strings, too. I love strings. Walking through in the 1500s. Look at that. Could you imagine?
I love this place. I'm always amazed when I come here.
Like she goes there every day.
Imagine what it must have been like for Anne when she came to court. She was joining Catherine of Aragon's court. She was a lady in waiting. And Catherine would have had a number of women serving her. And of course, this meant really being a companion to Catherine, reading with her, sewing with her, being by her side, as well as looking after her needs. There would have been perhaps 1,200 people at the court at its most, about 200 of whom were women, Catherine of Aragon's women. And of course, Catherine's court was part of the wider court, Henry's court, which was probably at most 1,000 men.
That is a stupid amount of people. So we had a smaller amount. There we go, 1,000 men on the Henry's court. Get it. I see you.
A Tudor court was a heady mix of politics and theatre.
A court ought to be formal, ought to be serious, ought to be religious, but it also ought to be, as well as all that, it ought to be a place where people are having fun.
No twerking.
Parties are going on, where people are enjoying themselves. You don't want a court which is too serious. Henry's court is awash with desire and love and sex. It's full of young people with lots of time on their hands and not much to do.
So it's a big difference than it is at a court in France, at least what I got from what they talked about from the French. What? I forgot the word. The French court. They are a little bit more religious because they're talking also about sexual things at the English court.
In Henry's court, when people talk about love, they're often actually talking about promotion. They're often actually talking about politics. Courtly love is a game. Henry has lots of roles, but one of them is the leading courtly lover. Now, in order for him to play that role, he has to have the leading courtly woman as his object of desire, as the person he performs to.
Competition for this role was intense, and maybe Anne aspired to be one of the leading players.
These actors are amazing.
Henry did have mistresses, not nearly as many as the French king, but it was considered to be a normal part of court life, especially when Catherine was pregnant, because it was considered unlucky in Tudor times to have sex during pregnancy. So in 1519, for example, one of the most beautiful women at the court, Elizabeth Blount, had given birth to an illegitimate son, Henry Fitzroy. His surname means son of the king.
Got it.
And of course, this indicated to Henry that if Catherine wasn't bearing him sons, it wasn't his fault.
It ain't my fault.
When Anne came to court in 1522, Henry had another mistress, someone Anne knew rather well.
Here we go to Anne.
Henry went out to joust one day bearing the motto, Elle mon cœur à Navarra, she has wounded my heart, which spoke of this mistress, and the she in question was Mary, Anne's elder sister. We don't know that much about Mary. We know that she was beautiful, giddy, high-spirited. She enjoyed the trappings of court life, as Anne would later do. And we know even less about her relationship with Henry, except that it was short-lived. The risk of fleeting royal affection surely served as a warning to Anne over the coming years.
Nice.
It's one of the most famous love stories in history. And yet we know very little about how Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn's romance began. It's likely that Henry first noticed Anne during courtly entertainments.
I do have a question, if you might know the answer. With their head dressing, is it different? Is there a different of station or whatever? I'm not sure. You know how they're wearing different decorated headpieces. Just let me know.
What is more
Look at
certain
Amy's ready.
is that their stories came together in early 1526, 4 years after Anne's arrival at court. We know this because Henry was soon writing love letters and giving her romantic gifts. One of these supposed presents is housed in the Victoria and Albert Museum in London.
One of the first gifts that Henry's said to have given Anne is this beautiful miniature gold whistle pendant. It's covered with foliage and it's really rather tiny. And as well as being a whistle, it also has within it a scoop for one's earwax and a pick for one's teeth. So it's all about personal hygiene. It is the sort of thing that Henry VIII might have worn on his clothing in a sort of court mask or festivity that would then be given away as a present.
Okay, I'm gonna probably find the first reaction of when I saw the first time I saw that present. I'm really like, I do not like body fluids and nastiness. I can't. I wasn't expecting that.
For miniature gold whistle pendant. It's covered with foliage and it's really rather tiny. And as well as being a whistle, it also has within it a scoop for one's earwax and a pick for one's teeth. So it's all about personal hygiene.
But hey, gold, I'll do it, I guess.
But above all, it tells us a message. And the message is clear. Henry is saying, if you whistle, I will come.
Blow the whistle. I love this.
It might have been just another gift from a king to a courtly love mistress.
Look at him.
But it soon became clear from Henry's own hand that this was something far deeper.
Like I said before, and I'll probably pull the original, but he's like stalking. I'm a big horror buff, so it makes me think of Michael Myers, and he doesn't have to move. You know what I mean? And she's the chase. That is so hot. Let's go.
I and my heart put ourselves in your hands, begging you to recommend us to your good grace, and not let absence lessen your affection.
When historians study Henry and Anne, much is made of the dark political forces manoeuvring behind the scenes to unite or to separate this couple. And what is lost amongst these affairs of state is the fact that this was a very real and very passionate love affair between two individuals.
He's moving a little bit further.
These are copies of Henry VIII's letters to Anne. The originals, the manuscripts, are in the Vatican Library. They probably ended up there as part of the evidence against Henry's divorce from Catherine of Aragon.
Okay, I said the last time too that I have letters from my grandparents is when he was away as in the Air Force. 1957, I think, is when they got it together, and I've got the letters on his side, and then I was told by my grandmother that she got mad at him one time and burned all of the other responses on her side. But they even said he said something in there, if I have a daughter, I want to name them Aaron. And it was also on my other side that wanted a daughter named Erin. So that is how I got my name, is Erin Ann. So let's go.
And these are quite extraordinary because they show to us these intimate moments, these private thoughts. This letter, for example, starts, "Mine own sweetheart, this shall be to advertise you of the great loneliness that I find since your departing. For I assure you,
think the time longer since your departing now last than I was wont to do a whole fortnight. I think your kindness
and my
I
fervency
love
of love
this, how
caused
they
it.
made this.
For otherwise I would not have thought it possible that for so little a while it should have affected him so much." And he concludes,
Darling, wishing myself especially of an evening in my sweetheart's arms, whose pretty duckies I trust shortly to kiss.
ducks is the Tudor slang for breasts.
Oh,
And he says,
that's
"Written
right,
the
I
hand
forgot.
of he who was, is, and shall be yours by his will.
We say dirty pillows from the movie Carrie. It's hilarious.
Henry Rex.
And these sentiments are reiterated elsewhere. So here it says, for example, "I would that you were in mine arms, or I in yours, for I think it long since I kissed you."
And to
We're going to stop here. And I also have love letters and such when my husband was in the army in basic training. He got letters constantly and he had to push for it. One time I didn't know any better that I went ahead and sent a week's worth of pictures and letters because I thought it'd be great. No, you have to push for your letters, and other of his friends were helping to push-ups to get the letters for my for my husband. And yeah, we were still doing a lot of letters and stuff. We got married in 2002, and then he went 2 weeks later into the army, and he did the 20 years. Now we are all retired old farts, you know what I mean? So yes, I am all about this. Please let me know what you think. And yeah, we'll talk to y'all later. Lots and lots of love. By the way, I have a dual screen. Something went on with my PIP over there on this side, which is where I'm able to see the CC. So that's why I'm moving back and forth. But we got the peripheral. We got that. Talk to y'all later. Lots and lots of love. Love, 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 love. Yeah, yeah.